And we're live! Hello!
Welcome to the Bar Book Club, bitches.
Woo!
Today we're going to talk about Hamlet.
No, I don't have my book again.
Go get it.
It's okay, it's downstairs.
You're not prepared for these.
Hold on. If you want me to go grab it, I think it might actually be in the other room.
Okay, I'll tweet that we're live. Oh, that's the wrong link. That's incorrect.
I'm back.
Oh, hey, I'm tweeting that we're live. 1 second.
We are live.
We're live, bitch. We're live. Okay, there we go. I tweeted that we're live.
Alright.
So yeah, we're going to talk about a brooding bisexual Shakespearean boy. I thought this was an appropriate way to dress. I got the bi flag behind me.
Nice.
Okay. So let's get this on the road.
So, general thoughts about Hamlet. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You can start.
Okay. I enjoyed it a lot. I think there's an obvious reason as to why it's one of the most famous plays, because it's like it has an easy to follow plot where you're like, okay, so his dad's dead and he has to do this, and like it's pretty easy to follow even if you don't understand all of the language.
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes it gets a bit confusing, but you're like you can still generally like see where it's going and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was like good in that sense, and it's just like a fun play, overall.
I really liked it. It was my third time reading it. Yeah, it's fun. You get something out of it every time. The writing is really super. Sorry, my water almost fell over. The writing is really superb in this one. Like, we talked about last month how Henry IV Part 1 was like very meh and surface level, and it was only fun to read it out loud. But this is one you can read it like a book, and it's like
you can get something out of it. Like you can like read it straight through, and it'll be like fun, and you'll enjoy it.
And the characters, like there's a lot more to them. Like again, Henry IV Part 1 was very, again, everyone was like surface level caricature, and
and for this there's like you can look at it different ways and you can like interpret it in different manners. So like
there's all the arguments like about the ghost and everything. It has there's only one woman really. There's Gertrude, but really it's just like Ophelia, and there aren't really like any women in Henry IV Part 1. So this again like is nice because you get one of the rare women of Shakespeare, one of the most
like really interesting.
Yeah.
To follow.
It's my favorite we've read so far is still Caesar, just because that's my all-time favorite. But this is
probably my favorite that we've read so far.
It's fun. It's a really fun one.
Yeah.
Hamlet's a bicon, which you gotta love. So like that, there's reasons it's one of the most famous ones. So
yeah, and like I think it's just really interesting, and you can like look at it in different ways. And even though it's like we watched like a retelling through The Lion King and stuff, it's a bit more interesting because there's so many like just distinct plots that
what are
you can't really retell it that well.
What are your thoughts on like there's that argument of like was there a ghost or not, and I don't get that argument because it literally starts with other people being like, remember the ghost, and like other people having seen the ghost. Like, let's go tell Hamlet about
I guess the argument of is there a ghost is like,
is it really his dad's ghost or is it a demon?
Yeah. Some people also like the idea of like, is the ghost
really saying all that to him?
Yeah, like is that really his father coming back, and then like, or even maybe like if this is going like really far, but maybe if he's just imagining the first part.
Oh, like none of that happened?
Like maybe like we just like got him, like we see him give so many soliloquies. Maybe that was just like in his head and we're seeing that.
What do you think?
I think the ghost is real. I think
the ghost is real.
There are a lot of things where I think you can look deeper into it and be like,
there's allegory, but I think it's real, and
I think that's real.
Austin said there's a ghost, and I played him, so therefore.
True.
No, I think there's a ghost. I've always thought there is a ghost, and I do think the ghost is his dad. Like, I don't think Shakespeare meant for that to be seen as like some.
Yeah, I think that was like purposeful. Like that was him.
I think the ghost drives him mad, but I don't think he's mad and therefore sees a ghost.
Yeah, I agree. I think seeing the ghost makes him kind of rethink everything and be like, what even is life?
He's a like sound mind when it starts. And then after a ghost is like, oh shit.
Yeah. I think we did that well in the movie in the Ophelia movie we watched.
Ophelia was so good. Like we'll get to that, but that was a good movie. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Me too. So do we want to talk about characters?
Hell yeah. Ophelia, obviously we talked about the movie. We're going to talk about it. Is great, but she's great in the play. She's one of the best women of Shakespeare.
Oh yeah, she's phenomenal.
And like out of all the women of Shakespeare, sorry, I got an email. Sorry, I'm like tired. I don't know. There's just like a lot to her. Like I always feel like Ophelia is just like a walking poem. Like just everything she says is beautiful. She puts up with so much bullshit. You
never know how she's gonna react to something. Really, like she kind of is like very surprising. Like when she bursts into song and everything.
I think that Hamlet is like a really early attempt at trying to write about mental illness because like it's so clear that Ophelia and Hamlet are mentally ill, and they're not like in a negative way or anything. Like, but like they keep being like, oh, they've gone mad because that's what you said back in the day. But it's obvious that that's what's happening. Ophelia literally kills herself, and I think the characters are really interesting that way. I think Gertrude's an interesting character because like she sucks. Why the fuck are you married? Your dead husband.
Questionable decisions there.
Yeah, it's
it happens.
Sometimes I still don't get how this works that the uncle would become the king over the prince.
What I'm guessing is that he's too young to take the throne, so it's like his mom will rule until he is of age.
But isn't he like a teenager? Uncle? Isn't he like a teenager?
Yeah, but maybe he needs to be like 18 or 21 or something.
Maybe. I don't know. It's not like that's made real clear in this.
When you're 21.
What are your thoughts on the characters?
I like them. I think they're like some of the most memorable because like how Ophelia how both of them go mad and like the way that like they're kind of different and obviously has very memorable characters, but like Falstaff is like really fun to like make a mockery of and everything.
Yeah.
So I think they're very interesting because they're so distinct within the cast.
Hamlet never shuts up, which we
really
learned in the reading. It's one thing that's fun about Hamlet is I like characters that are like 100% in their conviction, even if they know everyone else is going to see them as kind of like the like Joyce Byers of the world, like how in Stranger Things, like she's like, listen, my son's in the wall, and I know that's absurd, but that's what's up. And then Hamlet's like, I don't care how this looks. Like
he's like, this is true. I gotta follow it through. I think that's all. I also really like those characters because then it's like, even if like no matter what, like they won't be swayed by other people telling them that they're wrong. They're going to continue on their mission.
And like if they know like they're gonna like look crazy to other people, and they don't care if they end up looking crazy to other people. I don't think Hamlet and Ophelia like are crazy. I think they had very sound reasons to go mad. Hamlet's
but like if someone came up to me and they were like, well, gosh, I saw a ghost and then like it was my dead father and he told me
that my uncle murdered my father.
Like, you'd be like, don't know about that.
I'd be like, that's a lot. That's a lot to do. And then like the guy that's like, I love you, I'll marry you, and then he's like, get thee to a nunnery. I'd be like, bitch. Yeah,
that contrast where he's like, I love you so much. Like no one else knows how much I love you. And he's like, leave, ho.
Like bye bitch. Yeah, that part's always really upsetting because like I don't quite get what he's thinking in that moment. I don't know. Every time I read it, I'm like, what is up? I guess because at that point he's like chosen like the path of a martyr.
He's like, I'm just gotta keep going.
Yeah.
And you can't be attached to me.
Yeah.
which like makes sense because like if he already like because he knows everyone thinks he's crazy, so he doesn't want to take her down with him.
Do you think like he is like pretty much decided that he's gonna like die in you know, like how some people think like Hamilton essentially like went to that duel to commit suicide, like assisted suicide. Do you think like Hamlet went into the battle with Larides as assisted suicide, like he was pretty much far gone and done at that point? Or
I don't think he went into it trying to kill himself, but I think he said he was kind of under the idea that like whatever happens, like that's meant to happen. Like I saw my dad's ghost, I gotta keep going and like avenge him, no matter what.
I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory.
Yeah,
this is where it gets me.
Every time Hamlet goes off and like facts, every like 5 seconds he's like, "Oh my god," and then like this, I have so many emotions.
Kat said, "Is he trying to save her by rejecting her, so she's not dragged down with him?"
I like to think that's kind of how like I view it, is that he's like, "I'm too far gone. Like everyone thinks I'm mad, so like I might as well let you go."
Because he goes back and forth in that. Like, I did love you once, and then he's like, "Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so. I did. You should not have believed me. I did not love you." It's like, all right, well, Ben, I don't know what the fuck you just say. So sorry, I'm like so fidgety today. The ADHD is real. Yeah, I mean that's a really stupid way that he goes about it.
Yeah.
Like, where he's
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of like in YA, especially also there's like people do things and you're like, that's dumb, man.
They do the
like,
whole
I gotta go
they gotta pretend like they like hate them and whatever. Yeah. Like
I think it's that idea. Like with Edward in Twilight when he's like, I gotta go.
Just thinking that, but I didn't want to like be the one to say it, but my brain
was it's like that idea where it's like, I'm gonna protect you, but I'm gonna hurt you while doing
it. Can't you see I don't want you anymore? Yeah, toxic masculinity really did Ophelia dirty in this.
I think it's what also is interesting though is like I think there's the toxic masculinity in Hamlet, but also I think it shows like another side of being masculine where it's like you don't have to always like have it all together, because like usually I feel like there's the idea like men can't break down, but Hamlet's like a whole mess the whole time.
When I think of the toxic masculinity in Hamlet, I think more of like the other men in Ophelia's life. She's just surrounded by men. Like there's like it's not like her and Gertrude are vibing, and so I think about her brother, her dad. Being like I think their toxicity more so than Hamlet like losing it is what leads her to kill herself.
Yeah, I agree, because like there's just so much surrounding her that's messed up, and
she's too baller to just kill herself because her boyfriend left her,
Yeah, I think it's a culmination of everything.
That's not how she's gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just interesting because he spills so much of his thoughts out during the soliloquies and everything that
I wonder if this is like the most soliloquies in a Shakespeare play.
I feel like it is. He honestly like every 5 seconds he was like, guys, I'm thinking these more thoughts.
It's so many. It's so I can't imagine. Like I know when we did the reading, like you had a lot of lines, but I'm like, imagine being in a live production of this and you got to memorize all that. No.
I saw a thing because I looked up. I think I might have looked up during it. It was like he has like 1,500 lines in the play out of like the 4,000 lines of the play. So it's like
he has a good fourth of the entire line.
Yeah.
And it's like, bitch, I know he's the title character, but Jesus Christ.
But wow, yeah.
Yeah, that's a mood. That's a lot. That's a lot to have.
I mean, I feel like that's probably why like a lot of productions cut down on lines. I mean, like most productions, at least when I was like making mine, they're like, okay, so you're gonna shorten it, and I was like,
yeah. It was the longest one we did.
Yeah, it was like 3 hours.
Simon said Hamlet, more like Ham, let somebody else talk. If I remember.
That's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, there's a private Zoom chat, and in it, we were like, Bridget's back must hurt from carrying the dialogue of this show. Like, oh my God, he never shuts up.
I mean, but what's also interesting is that like every time, because like we would be talking in a little Zoom chat where we'd be like, oh my God, this. But like I have to keep scrolling. So I'm like, oh my god, I have to say more words.
Like was not in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, I was not. It was very sad. Because I saw the messages going, and I was just like, there they are. They're talking, and I can't read it yet.
Yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot.
Then, like, another person would say a line, but then like my line would be like right after that, and like
your line would be like 3 times as long as the person, like Ophelia would be. I'd be like, say one line, and then you'd come in and be like,
oh god, yeah, how's it going? What's up? How's it going? I love you. I hate you. Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Hamlet's like a real soft boy, and
I agree.
He's the OG soft boy. Yeah, he really like if he lived now, he'd be an e-boy, he'd have eyeliner, he'd wear
I could see Timothy Chalamet playing him in a remake.
What?
I could see Timothy Chalamet playing him in a remake.
Thinking that, like in my brain, I was like, and then
I know he played
Ophelia, like
yeah, oh my god, but like that would be perfect.
Cast it.
Imagine.
That would be like, can you even? It would be so good. Make it like modern, like it takes place in high school, and it's like that would be. He'd be so funny in it. Or just do it like really anachronistic, like The Favorite and The Crown, like where even though it's like back then they're talking like it's now and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be so funny.
Oh, that would be so good.
Hamlet is like there's the geeky blonde, the one who does condensed Shakespeare.
Oh yeah.
She has like a makeup tutorial where she does Hamlet, and I encourage everyone to go watch it. It's so funny. It's like wake up in the same makeup you've been wearing for 7 weeks, and a great tears work as a great blender. And like she's like, you want to just like rub your face to really smear it all around, and it's so funny. She's like, first start your routine by picking the graveyard dirt out of your fingernail.
That's great.
Yeah, it's Hamlet. Really, he really is that bitch.
Yeah, like I sent you that meme the other day, and it was like Hamlet. So I know this is Horatio's wedding. I'm very sad.
Yeah. I also love that like Horatio and Fortinbras are like. Can you imagine being Horatio and like you're so in love with Hamlet, and then you're just watching all of that go down, and then at the end after he's like everyone's dying being like I'll kill myself too, and like that's how much you love them, and he's like no you must live to tell the tale. Like
oh, I found it. It says happy birthday Horatio. For me it is not happy, but don't let my sadness diminish your night. Anyway, life is fleeting. It's from like the Parks and Rec.
Hamlet would like be that guy who like really wants everyone in the office to know that he like didn't get enough sleep last night.
Yeah.
Like,
he's the one who like always would talk loudly, and he'd just be like, "Oh my god, guys!"
Like, and if he was having a bad day, like everyone had to know. And like one time, somebody was like, "What's the difference between emos and goths?" And I was like, "Emos never shut the fuck up about goths. We just keep it in. But like emos are like everyone needs to know, and that would be Hamlet."
Yeah, it would be
a goth. She keeps it in. She goes hard. Hamlet's just like somebody hold me. Like
I'm going through so much.
Hamlet is like the epitome of like me being like everyone has problems. Like my acting teacher in college one time, there was this day, I can just imagine him saying this to Hamlet. It's like one day he came in and this guy in our class was like bitching about something non-consequential. I don't know what it was. I don't remember. But I just remember he turned around and saw our teacher was there, and her teacher was like, there are many people in a boat at the bottom of the ocean. That is a tragedy. This is not. And like I've always thought of that, and that was so funny. And like when Hamlet just keeps losing it left and right, he'd be like, dude, stop.
It's also like that John Mulaney like part of his stand-up where he's like, I am very small, I have no money. You can imagine the kind of stress that I am under.
Yeah. Hamlet could really be told in John Mulaney quotes. Like, this is a fire garbage can. It could be a nursery.
Like, could be me.
Basically. Where he's like, I don't know what my body is for other than carrying my brain. Yeah. So you want to talk about themes?
Yeah. Oh, Kat said anytime another character spoke, they had to have their own mini soliloquy because Hamlet wouldn't let him get a word in otherwise. They're like, he's taking a breath. Now's our chance. Go, go, go. True.
Can you imagine, like, Hamlet is like, I knew so many guys like him in college. They're like that white boy philosophy major who, like, you didn't ask their opinion.
Yeah.
They're going to tell you what it is anyway.
Yeah. They're also like the really pretentious
He
film.
said there is a horse on the throne. Like John Mulaney, there's a horse. No. And somebody's like, and now we have to go to brunch, and people are like, there shouldn't be a horse on the throne. And then Hamlet would be like, we're well past that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like he's also like the pretentious film person where he's like, what films have you seen?
he like studied abroad and it changed him, and you need to know. And it's like there's this guy I went to.
If he could redo any part of his life, it would be the study abroad.
There's this guy I went to high school with who was like the high school version of all that. And I remember he like DM'd me when quarantine started and was like, I'm sure if anyone's like working on interesting stuff right now, it's you. And I was like, the fuck does that mean? And so then like I had just started like my TikTok, and so I was like pretty jazzed about it, and I had started telling the Lyra story, and so like I was talking about it, and he was like, takes the time to tell me why he thinks TikTok is so dumb. And I'm like, I did not ask you. And like soliloquy. And that's how Hamlet is. Mr. Beetlejuice, we can kind of hear you. Yeah. Well, that was a soliloquy. See, you're the one who's being rude. I kept thinking that every time. Like you'd have like 2 pages. Like right here. This is the Hamlet soliloquy. It like starts here. It is all of this goes on to the next page.
Yeah, I just kept scrolling and being like, wow, I keep saying things.
Austin said the white boy philosophy majors are all named Kyle, and that is so true.
It's accurate.
They're named that, or they're named Christian. Christian's big. When you meet like a white guy who looks like he's part of the Aryan race named Christian, like just go. He's like, I majored in philosophy. I'm like, I worked with this guy who was a philosophy major, and he acted like having an English degree was impractical. And I was like, bitch, you're a philosophy major. Like, don't come at me.
Yeah, like what are you doing with your philosophy?
Yeah, sit around and think about things. I don't think so.
Like, wow, I got a bad degree.
I hate philosophy so much. I remember one time when you started taking philosophy, you were like, it's really interesting. And I was like, no, I hate philosophy. And you were like, no, we had this question today that was like, how do you define nothing? And I was like, the absence of something. And you were like getting so annoyed that I wouldn't like participate in the philosophical. And you were like, well, what if you have an empty bucket? I was like, then there's nothing in it. And you were like, what about air? And I was like, then there's something in it. And you were like, well, you just said it was the absence of something. I'm like, all right, well, there's nothing physical in the bucket. And you were like, well, there's nowhere that there's an absence of something. And I was like, a black hole. And you were like, so to you, nothing is a black hole? And I was like, well, by this definition. And you were like getting so annoyed that I wouldn't participate because I fucking hate philosophy. I walked out of my philosophy class one time in my sophomore year of college because they were like, how do we even know this table's really here? And I was like, oh, I absolutely don't have the mental energy to participate in that kind of discussion. And fun story is one of my favorite anecdotes of my life is the first day of my philosophy class. Our teacher writes on the board, you can't step in the same river twice. And he goes, who said that? And without thinking, my dumb ass goes, Pocahontas. And he goes, what? And I'm like, yeah, like in the movie Pocahontas. I was like I didn't mean the real Pocahontas. I don't know what the fuck she said. I was like, yeah, in the movie Pocahontas and just around the river bend, she's like, what I love most about rivers is you can't step in the same river twice. The water's always changing, always flowing. And then other people in the class were like, oh, yeah. And then he was like, what are you talking about? And then everyone in the class starts singing. And it's like, what I love most about rivers is, I guess like Socrates said it or something.
Yeah,
We're like, well, what Pocahontas is talking about in the movie is like, you know, you want to, like, and it was really funny. And that's my relationship with philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
So now you want to talk about themes?
Do we talk about plot?
I mean,
kind of. It's
not that complex.
It makes sense.
There's not much of one. So
it's kind of there. That's like in my last wrap up, I was like, you know, so there's a plot.
Yeah, his dad's dead. The brother killed him. It's the Lion King. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, the themes. I thought it was interesting to like kind of like what we talked about, the themes of like mental illness and like what it means to go mad and everything. I thought that was interesting to like think about.
Yeah, it was an OG way of addressing that. Like Shakespeare talked a lot of like taboo topics. You know, centuries before other people were really gonna like get in there and talk about them. Kat said the theme is sad boy, and that is true.
Yeah. Considering the amount of soliloquies. Yeah.
Austin said the plot summary is Hamlet's a bicon and he likes to talk a lot, and I feel personally attacked. by that.
I feel like you would play Hamlet, yeah.
That's also just my life. I could make that my Tinder bio, a bicon who talks too much. Like,
I could see that for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Fitting.
So what other themes are there? I mean, there's mental illness, and then there's like there's mental illness. And then,
I mean, like, women.
There's I just feel like women, they have minds. Well, it's just hearts.
And then like the idea of like revenge and everything, because like
that summary really sums up Ophelia, though. That's why when I cosplayed her on TikTok, I used that audio.
Yeah.
As well as just hearts. They've got ambition and they've got talent as well as just beauty. And I'm so sick of people saying that love is just all a woman is fit for. I'm so sick of it. Like, go off. I'll get a tattoo of just that whole monologue from Little Women. Yeah, the way that, like, it's interesting how, like, Hamlet's madness is, like, viewed with, like, as, like, violent, and then Ophelia's is just like, oh, look at this weak
yeah, she's crazy, yeah.
It's like, okay, they're both dealing with the same vibe. I don't know why we're coming in.
I'm guessing it's because he likes to talk a lot that he's like more vocal about it.
I think it's like because like since the beginning of Forever, we didn't teach men how to process their anger. Is like Hamlet goes mentally insane and is like, time to fuck shit up and kill people. And Ophelia's like, I think I'm just gonna be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Drown myself.
Handle this right now. Gotta go.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna drown myself in a river. I think that's what's up right now.
I think they also talk about like revenge and everything, which is good.
Yeah, it's a big revenge story. Revenge.
Yeah.
So.
Like also just considering how much he messes up while trying to get revenge.
There is no Hakuna Matata in this. It does not pass the vibes check in the slightest.
No, it does not.
It really doesn't. It really does not. So
there's also the idea of like what you see isn't always what is, like appearance versus reality.
Yeah, like, I mean, and again, with
that's a common theme with him.
Like the ghost, like even though like yes, there's a ghost, other people saw it. Is like did the ghost actually say all that stuff to him, or was he just like looking? I mean, like the uncle, like for sure, killed the dad. That's what makes me think there is a ghost, and it is his dad that did say all that, because then he does the play thing, and the uncle's like, how did they know?
He's like, oh my god.
And I'm like, okay, well, how would Hamlet know if the ghost wasn't his dad and didn't tell him? I think like that's one thing as someone who is an English major, like that's where English majors are reaching, and I'm like, okay, guys,
calm yourself.
It's not that serious. I wonder if like people did that at the time, and Shakespeare was like, it's just a ghost.
It's not that deep.
Like Shakespeare's like, yeah, if there's a ghost in my stories, when in doubt, it was a ghost. It was supposed to be there.
Yeah. I think also like with that is like, because at the beginning it's just like, oh yeah, and there's Hamlet's uncle, and like you don't know at first, and he's like acting like he's like kind of good.
I wonder what it was. I always wonder with Shakespeare plays, the ones that are really famous like this, that you kind of just like grow up knowing. I always wonder what it was like to be in that first audience. Like I always say, like, can you imagine being in the first like opening night, Romeo and Juliet, they come out, they're like, they're gonna kill themselves, being like, I'm sorry, what? And so like,
hold up.
You're at Hamlet opening night, and then this ghost is just like, yeah, my brother murdered me. Like, yeah, that's a lot to deal with. Yeah, I sometimes try to imagine like what that must have felt like to be like, because again, like I feel like I don't even remember when I knew what Hamlet was about, but it's like I knew what a lot of Shakespeare plays were about before ever reading them, because it's so like I didn't know what the fuck Henry IV was about, but like but so many of them, like this is one of the most famous ones, like they're just in like knowledge, public consciousness, yeah, for sure. Which is interesting, because it's like, when did you even learn that? Yeah, like when I did hidden history, I'd always be like, what is the first you remember learning about such and such? And sometimes people could like pinpoint it, but usually people are like, I don't know. They're like, it's just, it's been there. Yeah. I remember when I was like in middle school, my mom and my sister going to see it, and then being like, oh, you would have been really bored. It's like super long, and it's like, and I remember I saw it at Shakespeare in the Park, and my mom, like we had been invited by some other people, and then my mom, like there was like
this like children's version of it before the show actually started.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, and so like they perform the whole show and like abbreviated and like modern English and everything. And so like I understood once we started watching the actual performance. I was like, yes, and like this and everything, cool. And my mom was like, I guess I should have watched that performance because I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it is a lot easier to get it when you watch it.
You know the plot, then you're like,
the collection and everything. What was I just gonna say? I remember like I knew about To Be or Not to Be, like for a long time. The Skull, like I knew that for a long time, and that's a very famous.
Yeah.
And
though a fun fact is he doesn't have the skull during the To Be or Not to Be speech, and everyone came at me for that.
Why? Because I held up the skull.
No. I was directing Taming of the Shrew, and I forget what I was talking about, but like I was saying something, and I was saying like in Hamlet when he's like got the skull and he's like to be or not to be, and they were like, that's not when he has the skull. That's a different speech.
When does he have it? Because I
definitely doing the Dear Poor Yorick part.
Oh, I held it up.
Figures. That's okay. It doesn't really matter.
Also, like,
in the play, they were like, no. I was like, it doesn't.
If I like every time he gives a soliloquy, gonna hold up a skull. I like that, like, me and Kat had so many fake skulls in our rooms, and like you didn't have any, and so I was like, cool, the wrong person is doing.
Yeah.
Kat said, I always knew Uncle Yorick. I knew him well from Quest for Camel. I don't. Okay, I'm ignorant. I don't know how I learned any of. I want to say. This could be wrong, but I feel like Hamlet was addressed in like an episode of Hey Arnold or something, and that's how
probably like something.
I know, because they did a lot of stuff like that on Hey Arnold. So, we want to talk about fun dialogue. Well, Hamlet had most of it.
There's the whole To Be or Not to Be speech, which is very interesting.
There's Ophelia when she's gone insane and comes in singing. That was fun.
That's great, yeah.
Because, like, it's not just shade on our other actors, but whenever they're singing, no one wants to actually sing. I remember
you went out for it. You were like, I'm here.
I remember when we did Henry IV, and it kept saying like Welsh folk song, and I was like, we can skip it. And then Katie in the comments was like,
I only came for the Welsh folk songs.
For Welsh folk songs, why are we skipping them? Yeah, but I remember like The Fool was supposed to sing a lot, and no one wanted to sing it. And I mean, like, it is annoying. So I'm like, I don't know the tune. Were these songs back then? Like,
like whenever I read a song in a book, I'm like, how am I supposed to?
I'm supposed to know what this sounds like.
Like when I'm listening to Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I'm like, how?
When I read Daisy Jones and the Six, I was like, all right, stop writing out I don't know what the fuck this sounds like. It's like, I hate when they write like the poems of a character who's a poet because they always suck, and you can tell like you were supposed to think they're good. And I'm like, they were really hoping that someone like me didn't come along and read the book and be like, no.
It's terrible. Yeah, it happens sometimes.
I mean, I like the Get Thee to a Nunnery scene. I like. Hold on, I had it marked down. The part where Hamlet is like really starting to lose it, and he's like, "Can I lay in your lap or something?"
Oh yeah, when he just comes up, he's like, "Can I lay in your lap?" And she's like, "No."
Like really sexual innuendo, and he's like, "No, like my head," and she's like, "No." Like,
yeah, that's fun. And then also I like that whole play scene where like reenacting it, and then like his uncle's just like, wait, like.
Yeah, why is the uncle like can't keep his shit together during that? Like,
I guess because it's so specific, he's like shook that anyone would come up with anything that's like.
Yeah, he's like, whoa, that is on the money, right?
Like, that's a bit too close for comfort.
He's like, I don't like that in the slightest. So, yeah, it's one of those things where like, again, more so than Henry IV, like a lot of dialogue sticks out.
Yeah.
So I mean,
which is probably why it's more famous as well.
Yeah, there's more like memorable lines. So, I mean, like so much of what Hamlet says is memorable. I mean, even like when the ghost starts talking is, hold on. That's okay. I'm a mess. 1 second. Where is when the ghost first talks? Well, and even at the end when he tells Horatio to keep on, and when Fortinbras, closes his out, bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage, for he was likely had been put on to have proved such royal, and for his passage the soldiers' music and the rites of war speak loudly for him. Take up the bodies, such a sight as this becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. Go bid the soldiers shoot. And it's like they're like, treat him like a soldier who went out nobly in battle is like pretty.
Yeah, even also like the first line, like some of them have like really great first lines. And, like this one is like, who's there? Like, and that kind of jumps you.
Yeah, like that's a crazy way to start. Like it always starts like in the middle of. It always feels like Shakespeare plays you're starting in the middle of a scene, which is so interesting. Yeah. And it literally starts with like the dad's already dead and they're already like there's a ghost. Like it's interesting. It's an interesting way to start.
Yeah, which is also fun because like in my Shakespeare class we talked a lot about King Lear because that was the first thing we read. And we memorized like the first line, which is like, I thought the king had more affected the Duke of Albany than Cornwall. And my teacher was always like, I wish they started several lines later when he says, hand me the map, because that's so much more interesting and just dives you right in.
Yeah, I love that Shakespeare
has specific parts to start on.
That they're just like, here we go, we're in it. Like,
yeah, like he's very specific with how he like orders his plays, which is cool. And like with that, it dives you right in.
Because he was
smart.
I said what I said. I will not be taking questions at this time. Yeah. Okay. So, any other fun dialogue? Because I can't think of any.
Like the poor Yorick part is interesting.
Yeah, that's great. I already said like pretty much Ophelia doesn't have a ton of lines, but when she does speak, like it always slaps.
Yeah. So. And I like the Gravediggers, kind of like with that part where he's just like, some dead people, yeah.
Yeah, I love the Gravediggers. I love the random small walk-on characters that come in and are just like,
they're like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm doing my job. What's up?
Like, you rich people are so extra.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about the movies we watched?
Which one do we want to talk about first?
We just do it in order. We watched The Lion King first. We were both so shook by how much The Lion King still
slaps.
The cartoon, so 1990, what was it, 4? Yeah. Like 4.
97?
96, something like that. I don't know. But the 1990s cartoon Lion King like still goes so hard. There are no skips.
94.
It's like, oh my god, the like Scar.
Every song is like phenomenal. Scar like all the plot is so good.
Scar isn't just like one of the best Disney villains. Like he's just one of the best villains. Like Be Prepared is one of the best, if not the best Disney villain song. It's so good. It gets me in the feels every time. It's visually beautiful.
It really is.
Like it's so good, and like it's not like verbatim Hamlet. Like it has Hamlet elements, but it's still so. Every time when Mufasa dies, I'm fucked about it. Like
I cry, and like
when he's like, and every time, and he's like, and here's my little secret: I killed Mufasa. Even though like we know as the audience,
and we're just like, oh my god, you killed Mufasa.
You're like, what? And he's like, so they can hear you. And then at the end. There's so many great lines. Like, yes, the past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. And like,
Hakuna Matata.
I mean,
no worries
for the rest of your days.
And then like Nala comes and he's like, Hakuna Matata. And she's like, what does that even mean? He's just like, Hakuna Matata.
He's such a fuckboy. And like Timon and Pumbaa, like gay icons. Like it's the shot of like them on the log when
it gets me in the heart every time. Oh my god.
Hakuna Matata. It's and then Matthew Broderick comes in as adult somebody. It means no worries. Like it's so good. And then the shot at the end where he's like, it is time. And he's just like walking up. Oh, after like talking about like how Shakespeare knows how to start a play, The Lion King. Yeah, just this like, and then after that whole
iconic.
And then it's the loud drum beat, and the Lion King comes up, and then that's exactly how it ends too. oh, like
power move.
It hits every time. Like, oh my god. Yeah. The fact that they started a movie in Swahili and like all Gen Z and millennials can sing it, like we're like, excuse you, we know the words. And I feel like when Moana came out, because there's several songs in Moana that are sung almost completely, if not entirely, in I don't know what Polynesian language. I don't know what the name of the language is, but in a Polynesian language. And I remember like some Karen when that came out was like, how are my kids supposed to sing along if it's not in English and it's in Polynesian? And somebody was like, I don't know. Maybe the way that we all learned to sing along with Swahili. Tell your kids to step their fucking game up.
It's true. It's like
the shot, oh my god, iconic.
Up and just
it slaps.
Like, no moment of the film is unnecessary. Like it doesn't go on too long.
It's perfect. It's never slow.
Every second you're invested.
Every character is hard. I love when he realizes Simba's alive. He's like, oh, I love Rafiki. What an icon. I was telling Bridget. Bridget hasn't seen the Broadway show, and I saw it when it was the first professional theater I saw. And they have a woman play Rafiki in Broadway, and the song "He Lives in You" reprise is sung by Rafiki when that scene where he comes back and finds Simba and is like, you know, he lives in you, like and it's a whole song, and it's like so good. It goes so hard. And so yeah, I mean, Lion King is one of the longest running musicals on Broadway. Like it's an amazing story. It's so good.
It's so good.
It's oh my god, it's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about Ophelia with is her name Daisy Ridley from
Daisy Ridley and Tom Felton.
And that guy from The Great and Naomi Watts.
Yeah.
It's a retelling of Hamlet from Ophelia's POV. If
we watched it on Molly's computer through Google Hangouts.
I was the only one with Showtime, so like there's a desktop here. I'm on the laptop. So what we had to, my sister was in the call too, is I had it on my desktop and then I turned my laptop and for some reason my dumb ass couldn't remember left and right. And so like, Molly
here. So we said, Molly, to your left, and she went, okay, like this. I went, no, Molly, your left. And she went, okay, here. I went, no. And then Katie was like,
we have the same left.
No. Katie was like, no, our left is different from her left. So like your other way. And then I was like, no, we have the same left. Where are you going? And then you finally got it.
I got it. Yeah, and we watched it that way. We had the subtitles on. I mean, that's also how we watched My Own Private Idaho because my sister needed to see my computer. My sister and I've watched it like that because her computer is through work and it's really old. You know, you do what you gotta do. So like we know not as many of you joined us for Ophelia as you did for The Lion King because like everyone has Disney Plus now. And if they don't have it, they're about to get it because fucking Hamilton. Yeah, if you guys like, you can buy Ophelia places. If you have Showtime,
it's like $15 or something.
Now, when I did the History of Frankenstein, they only had Mary Shelley to buy, and so I owned Mary Shelley because I needed.
No, but it was like $15 to rent.
Yeah,
you couldn't even buy it until next year.
Yeah, so if you want to watch it, if you have Showtime or Amazon Prime, it's on there. It's really good. It's really good. Like we were like it's gonna be okay. And I mean that's good because last movie night with My Own Private Idaho, which sucked, it was nice that we had two ones that slapped. I thought it did a really
good job of taking the original story and like having its own spin because I really think like it's just a retelling. Like,
I really liked it
because something new.
Ophelia more autonomy, and a lot of times with stuff like that they're like, it's the story you think you know, and then they like change all this dumb shit and you're like, okay, but like
also, I thought they kept like a lot of important parts while also like adding.
It still was Hamlet. I really liked the end. I remember, not to brag, but I called the ending. I was like an hour in, I was like, I bet this will happen, and then that did happen. It was beautiful, like just the aesthetics of that movie.
Yeah, it was really beautifully shot.
Just like they brought to life the famous like painting shot of her drowning in the river. That was it was so good. And it
was really well done, I think, with the characterization is that like they did a good job of like keeping her character but like adding more to it and like showing her growing up and like what her life was like.
And they didn't just show her like go mentally ill and like It'd be like, I'd be interested to like see more Shakespeare stories told from like the one main woman's perspective.
Yeah.
Like tell Julius Caesar from like Portia's perspective or something.
Yeah.
Or like Macbeth from Lady Macbeth's perspective or
Yeah.
something like that.
I thought it was really cool because there's so much that we don't see of her. She's only there a few times, and like usually it's just Hamlet being like, "Oh my God, guys, like I have some issues here." So it was good to see like from her perspective, like you can see that like you're like, he is kind of looking crazy there.
Yeah. Simon said, well, on the topic of film adaptations, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is a pretty funny one. Yeah, my high school did that, and it was funny. And I just remember like every time they were like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, in my head I was like, are dead. And so we had trouble like picking what movies we were going to do for this one because there's so many. Everyone was like, David Tennant, Hamlet, are you doing this? And we settled on 2 because Bridget was like, I want to do The Lion King, and I was like, I really want to do Ophelia because I heard things and it looked so cool. So yeah, do you have any other thoughts?
It's an iconic story.
It's iconic.
Why?
Hamlet's a icon. Shakespeare.
Very well done.
Icon. So next month, for July, because it'll be Midsummer, we're reading A Midsummer Night's Dream. I've never read this one, so I'm very excited.
I read it freshman year of high school.
We are going to be watching the 1999 adaptation of A Midsummer Night's Dream. So this is one of the months where we're just straight up watching adaptation. The dates they'll all be on our Twitter, but our live stream reading of the play is going to be on the 17th at 9 p.m. on this channel, EST. The movie night, watch along on Twitter. We also have a Google Hangouts. People are allowed to join. That's 8 p.m. on the 24th, all EST. And then this kind of live stream will be on the 31st, I can't talk, at 8 p.m. EST. I'm pretty sure we still have some parts open for
I think so.
Like DM me at Magical Molly or tweet at the Bard Book Club, Bard_book.
Yeah.
You should all follow us on Instagram and Twitter because we keep everyone updated about this stuff. So it's Bard_book on Twitter and Instagram.
Yep.
And yeah, thanks.
Fun time.
I'm so excited. Thanks for joining us for another month of Bard Book Club.
Woo.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you guys next month for Midsummer.
And remember, Shakespeare was smart.
Crazy.
I know.
Bye.
Bye.